So much to talk about, guys. Welcome to the Chelsea versus Manchester City review, or the Manchester City versus Chelsea review. You can probably hear by my voice. I've lost it, basically. I've been shouting all game, and there is, as I say, so much to divulge. Is that even a word? I don't know. But a lot to talk about in a victory that was beautiful. Manchester City 1, Chelsea 3. We came from behind in the second half. It was a beautiful performance. Massive fight at the end. We'll have words on that. 4 goals in this game, 2 red cards, could have been 7. In fact, there could have been about 11. They should have sent off the whole of the Manchester City team. Lots to talk about, lots of controversy. But the big thing that we've all got to remember is that Chelsea, we won. Manchester City, you ain't got nothing on us. We sit top of the table. We've got such a nice run of fixtures. And I said a couple of weeks ago, I think it was after the game when I can't think what the game was. It wasn't after, was it Middlesbrough? Give me a second, lads, and I'll have a look. And there was a game that we played, and I said, if we win our next 2 games, Tottenham and Manchester City, if we win them both, we will win this Barclays Premier League. We will win the league. I think it was Middlesbrough. It was Middlesbrough. And we won them. And now I genuinely do believe we are going to go on and win this league. Hell, I'm not going to call it. I'm not going to. This is not the US election. I don't need to call states. But I am saying now we are looking unstoppable. There is a feeling around that club, or around the club at the moment, that is just such a goddamn good feeling. You know, and the comparison to last season, and forget about last season. The comparison to the Liverpool game in which we lost 2-1 and we got destroyed in the first half. The Arsenal game where we were horrific. Just the way that Antonio Conte has turned this Chelsea side round and has made us into, quite simply, world beaters. I just wish we'd have been in the Champions League, folks, because I honestly believe, and I think we're looking good next season, we can get in that Champions League and we can give it a good old go. Because if we can continue to play the way we are genuinely... You know, I think there's no team in the world that would want to come up against Chelsea at the moment. We are that damn good. We have arguably one of the best players on form in the world right now in Diego Costa. What a second half performance he had. Now, he did, I don't know whether he pulled a muscle or what happened there. It could be that thigh injury or possibly a hamstring. He had a couple of massive hamstring problem a couple of seasons ago. The thigh injury as well he's had recently, which meant he couldn't play in the international break for Spain, so it could be that. So that's the only worrying thing coming away from this game, is that Diego Costa could be out. But don't jump to any conclusions. Let's hope he's not, and let's hope he can get himself back and into the action. But what an unbelievable performance from him. I believe he's my fantasy football captain. I'm just going to go check. But a goal and an assist from Diego Costa, and he is one of my favourite players ever, and he's just what I would class as the perfect... Look, if you were to build the perfect centre forward, right, Diego Costa would pretty much be that person. Fiery, you know, aggression, goes and wins the ball back. Fantastic finish, fantastic on the ball. He would be the perfect centre forward. Nobody's got time for people like Aguero, the little fanny farty football players who are just a bunch of... No one's got time for him. I haven't, and I don't want Aguero on my team. I would take Costa over Aguero any day of the week. Aguero's a complete and utter fraud, folks. He does not turn up in big games. David Luiz had him in his back pocket today. Absolutely in the back pocket. Oh my God, I fucked up on fantasy. I didn't mean to put fair captain. I meant to put Costa captain. What the fuck? I'm fuming, but who cares? We won the game. He got 9 points. He would have got me 18 points. I have him vice captain and fair captain. That's why you don't do your fantasy football team at 2 o'clock in the morning. But who cares? Eden Hazard also with a goal at the end. But let's just go through the game then. We started off okay, but City slowly grew into that first half, and there was an iffy... Well, there's a couple of things right off the bat. Fernandinho, it was a horrific challenge. He snapped on, I can't think who the player was. Should have been sent off there and then, in my opinion. And then a little bit later, Aguero stamped on Pedro, and that should have been a straight red card. So they shouldn't even have been on the pitch. That's why when Aguero went down like a little pansy from the David Luiz just basically just brushed it. I mean, it's pathetic. He shouldn't have gone down. The most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I didn't really care. I don't really care. If people think that was a free kick and a red card, I couldn't care. Aguero shouldn't have been on the pitch, and he's a little pansy for falling down like that. So in my opinion, that was never, ever, ever a free kick. Nothing wrong there, in my opinion, from David Luiz. And then Cahill with an absolutely terrible bit of defending, scoring a spectacular shin overhead kick, if we're going to call it that. Manchester City went in at half-time at 1-0. I've just noticed that Chelsea scored all 4 goals today. The second half, we came out and we were firing on all cylinders. Costa looked like the man who really was going to turn this game on its head and do something quite special, and that he did. Diego Costa in the 60th minute. It was an absolutely beautiful finish, but what a pass from Cesc Fabregas. Now, I was going on Twitter at the start of the game and I was a bit sort of apprehensive about Fabregas being in this team in a big game. You know, Matic has done so well, massive loss with him to injury, but what a pass this was from Cesc Fabregas. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. I think it's Gary Neville said it and I agree with him. It's part of the season so far. It's an absolutely beautiful ball. Costa gets it, completely and utterly destroys the absolute lemon that is Otamendi. Puts him on the deck. It's fantastic control. And it's a beautiful finish past Bravo. And he makes it Chelsea 1, Manchester City 1. That was 60 minutes. We then come forward again on the break at 70 minutes. Diego Costa slips through Willian. Willian, one-on-one the keeper, just come on for Pedro. Bang! Right into the back of the net. Celebrates and dedicates his goal to that terrible crash, plane crash that happened, which I can't say the football team's name, but where you know that disaster where all the players, managers, they all, you know, that terrible plane crash. Credit to Willian, credit to David Luiz for doing that for their goals. It was just, what a terrible thing, and my thoughts of everybody affected there. It really has hit the football world hard. But that was 2-1. And I did feel when Yaya Toure came on, I thought, Yaya's going to score. It's going to be 2-2. It's going to be a disaster. But Eden Hazard, on about the 89th minute, he gets the ball. I can't think who got the assist. I think it might have been Alonso. He comes through. He's one-on-one with the keeper. Drops Bravo. I don't know what Bravo's doing. And it's a beautiful finish from Eden Hazard. And he puts it past the goalkeeper. And it's 3-1 at Chelsea. And it is game, set, and match. And we are going top of the table, which we already were. We're staying top of the table. 4 points clear. Liverpool, I'm not worried about them. I'm really not. They've lost Coutinho. I think they'll struggle. I really died. I'm not worried about Liverpool. I think it is going to be a 2-horse race. Maybe that's famous last words. I don't know. But for me personally, Liverpool, they're okay, but at the back they will come unstuck, in my opinion. And then we saw something horrific. I mean, Aguero quite simply tried to end David Luiz's career. I'm not exaggerating here, folks. It was the worst challenge I think I've ever seen. He loses the ball. David Luiz defends it beautifully like he'd done all game. Completely and utterly had destroyed the fraud that is Sergio Aguero. And Aguero is the most disgusting challenge I've ever seen. Now, they've had a bit of a feud before. You know, that FA Cup game, you never forget it. Aguero double stamp to David Luiz. I think it went unpunished by the FA. It was an absolutely shocking challenge, and he did it again. Something that, I mean, if you haven't seen it, you wait till you see it on Match of the Day, Football First, or wherever you see it. You'll be able to get it on Twitter. I think I've retweeted it, or I'll make sure I do. It is the most shocking challenge I think I've ever seen, and it is a straight red card for Aguero, understandably so. Chalobah goes. Aguero is the biggest psychospastic cunt I know in my honesty. He's a little thug, and I've said this for a long time now. Someone needs to drop him, and they need to drop him permanently, folks. It needs to happen. I've been saying it for 2 years now. He's completely not a fraud. I hate the guy. And Chalobah goes over and just pushes him over. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Well into Chalobah, because I tell you what, credit to him. You know, you've got to. Gary Neville said it. I don't care what the rules are. You've got to stand up for your team when somebody does that, and Chalobah did just that. And then it just all exploded. Iheanacho's getting in the face of Chalobah. I mean, when he sees the challenge, if he still feels the same way, he's absolutely delusional. Pep Guardiola loses it. I don't know why he's losing it. You know, he's lost his hair. I know that much. And then Fernandinho's pushing and slapping Cesc Fabregas. Fabregas just doesn't hit. He taps him around the head to say, "Why are you having a go at me? Why are you pushing me?" Fernandinho slapped into Cesc Fabregas. Then he pushes Fabregas. He's pushing him again. He pushes him into the fans, folks. He pushes him into the fans, into Manchester City fans, who are trying to absolutely molest Fabregas. Thank God people kept him safe. Because you know what that's... I mean, it's disgusting. Fernandinho gets himself sent off. It's disgusting scenes from the sore losers that are Manchester City. A disgusting challenge by Aguero. Disgusting behaviour by Iheanacho and Fernandinho. I hope they all get about 29 game bans. I tell you, you got to look at it this way. If it was Costa in Aguero's position, or let's go back a couple of years, if it was Luis Suarez in Aguero's position, that would have been it. It would be a 28 game ban. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous that there's no consistency with the FA. I mean, Pep Guardiola was clapping the ref sarcastically. If that had been anybody else, you know, if that had been Jose Mourinho, now, you know, he's left Chelsea, etc., he's Man United, but, you know, you have to feel that he got sent off for kicking a bottle. Whether you agree with that decision or not, what Guardiola did was arguably exactly the same. Massive drama. Now, I'll tell you what, if you miss this game, guys, you've got to watch the highlights, whether you watch it on Match of the Day, Football First. It was that good. It lived up to the hype, folks, and the winners, deservedly so in the end, Chelsea. Goals from Willian, Willian, sorry, I didn't say it in the right order. Goals from Diego Costa, Willian and Eden Hazard. 5 Chelsea, well, not back to the top of the table, but staying in top of the table. 4 points clear. Liverpool, it's over to you. What a game of football. Lots of talking points. Make sure you leave it down in the comments below. But what a performance from Chelsea. We weren't fantastic today. The second half, though, we really show why we are so tough to beat. Manchester City 1, Chelsea 3. And I'm now starting to believe that the Blues might win their second title in 3 years. Could it happen? Chelsea, as I say, come from behind to beat Manchester City at the Etihad. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next. God, I lost me voice. Goodbye.